watching the live stream tonight. The rather lovely David Obst, and if you do have Twitter and you don't follow David Obst, please do. He's lovely. He's an absolutely lovely man. Okay, we've got another one coming up from Bentley, which is Maximising Learning in Cover Lessons by Karmela Anderson. Okay, and this is the sixth of the pitches tonight.
Hi, I'm Karmela, and I'm going to talk about maximizing learning in cover lessons. And I'll just give you some information about cover lessons and how I got into this. I'm a cover supervisor, by the way. And so I wanted to look at, as part of our action research program that we do at Bentley, I wanted to look at how much time do students spend in cover lessons, because nobody actually knew this, and there's no data that I can find nationally or any other schools about how much time a student spends on average in lessons that are covered by someone other than their teacher. And I found that on average it was about 104 lessons a year over 3.5 weeks solid of cover lessons on average. Some students as much as 150. And obviously some of those will be covered by supply teachers that are specialists in the field. So there's not a lot of breakdown for that, but it's a lot, basically. And there's also cover supervisors has been sort of a recent introduction into schools and how cover is managed. And so I thought maybe there's an opportunity there to use the role of cover supervisors to really maximize that learning time so that these aren't lost lessons, they're not wasted lessons, they're not time-killing lessons, because it's a significant part of their learning. Cover is very stressful. I did a survey, and teachers said almost unanimously, especially for like sickness absence, setting cover is really stressful. Dealing with it when you get back is really stressful, because whoever was bad, now you've got to follow up with detentions for something that you weren't even there for. Maybe the cover wasn't set very well and people are complaining about that. It's a really stressful situation. And I can tell you as a cover supervisor, it's often stressful covering classes. And a lot of people seem to be unsure about what the role of cover supervisors really is. And again, I did as much research as I could, and there's very, very little literature about what cover supervisors really do in every school and how they're supposed to relate to students and teachers, because unlike almost really any other support role in the school, we have sole responsibility for a classroom and deliver information and lead tasks and present things, but we are not teachers. And there's not any other role that is really like that we are in the classroom with the students without a teacher there. And so I think that kind of attributes to how difficult things can be sometimes with communication and collaboration. And how can we reduce stress for staff and increase learning for students? That's basically the focus of everything that I've done before, and the collaboration I'm trying to work on now is how can we make it more or less stressful for teaching staff and cover supervisors, and at the same time make sure that this is actual learning time for students. And the answer is collaborate. So what is good cover? It depends on the subject, it depends on the cover supervisor, it depends on the teacher, it depends on the class you're working with. Is it that it's accessible, clear instructions, interesting or clear expectations, the objectives really clear? Is it easy to set and easy to deliver? It's really hard to know these things, and that's why I think collaboration and communication are really, really important, because what your standards are for your own class as the teacher and for your different sets of students will change, and it needs to change, and it needs to be adaptable. And that is very hard to achieve, I think, without working with the support staff that are responsible for delivering all of this hard work that you've put through to create these really great cover lessons, and then it's totally spoiled because the person delivering it didn't understand what you wanted. And that leads to the next point of how is feedback provided and how is it effective, or is it effective? There's not, in most schools, there's not dedicated time for cover supervisors and teachers or heads of departments to meet and discuss how things go, particularly in practical subjects like art. Where do all the colored pencils go? Where are all the totes? And then the teacher comes back, everything's in the wrong place. They're really upset. The cover supervisor's upset because, like, it was a disaster. A lot of glue was spilled. Like, you know, late to the next lesson because you're mopping up glue. Like, everybody's really unhappy. And it can be avoided, I think, just by sitting in different departments, departmental meetings, having mini insets in each department. There are lots of ways to make things just go a bit smoother, and giving and receiving effective feedback would be a huge part of that. So these are my possible action points of what I'm pitching to you. Group of teachers and cover supervisors to build something of a best practices portfolio. As far as I can find, this doesn't exist anywhere. There is a cover supervisor's website, but it's mostly just people going on there blogging about how horrible things are. It's really, it's actually really unpleasant and depressing. Don't go to the website. And that is the only thing that I have found that is actually anybody sharing anything. So I think it would be really great if there was a positive working group to talk about what we do right and what is working in certain places. And I visited several other schools and followed some of their cover supervisors around and talked to their line managers and how they organize things and do things. And they gave me some really great ideas about things that will make my job easier and more effective. And I hope that they took some things away from me. And that's where I got this whole idea. I want teachers to be involved as well because it's their classrooms, it's their students. Ultimately, they are responsible for their progress. And I think that it's important that we can maybe share a bit of that responsibility when it comes to cover. We can share resources and ideas through electronic media and to promote school visits and further training for cover supervisors. I think there's a lot of concern from the cover supervisors I have spoken to at other schools often feel there is a lack of training. I mean, you go on the one cover supervisor inset and they're like, these are your legal responsibilities and rights, and like, this is how effective ways of punishing children. And like, that's it. You don't really want to go on another one. Like, you've been on one, they're all the same. So other ways of really making this a more professional job, because it is important. You know, I cover full days, sometimes weeks at certain times of year, the full days without a single free. And I like actually being busy. Otherwise, it can be quite boring at work sometimes if you're not really busy with the kids, and that's who I want to spend most of my time with. But I want to know that I'm improving and that I'm effective. And it's hard to know that when I don't know what anyone else is doing and there's not a set of standards for us. So, yeah, working on that is what I would like to do. Yeah. Thank you.